I'm gonna keep on going until I see some people. Oh, there's one person on. Hey, how's it going, everyone? And welcome back to BHD Studios. I'm gonna be running more of these tests. You guys are my guinea pigs, so I do appreciate you guys joining. I'm now testing my YouTube Live using a HDMI video capture card attached to my Fujifilm X-T4s. You can immediately see an IQ difference from using a webcam. I am just trying to see if my audio and video is syncing. Can you guys let me know in the comments? Hey, Cafe Wavir, how's it going, buddy? I was going to actually, Cafe Wavir, I was going to actually do a private Zoom meeting with you just to sort of test it. But I thought, you know what? I don't have to save this to YouTube. I don't have to save everything that I do when I go live. Just sort of, just delete it after. But I was having problems because I do have an external recorder here, and I was trying to use this Zoom with the video capture card, but the audio and the video weren't syncing when it came to recording. So how well is this syncing, guys? It's synced? All right. So for some reason for YouTube, it syncs well. I tried Zoom, like a fake Zoom meeting where it's just myself and nobody else. And I recorded that and it seemed to sync. But when I use QuickTime, and maybe that's the problem, the QuickTime recording device, it didn't matter if I was using the audio coming from a separate source or right now I'm directly connected to my Zoom video micro. Here, I'll just even show you here. I'll pull away. So you can see, here's a little video light here. I have my my Rode Video Micro here, and that's connected to my camera, and then my camera is connected to my computer using that video capture card. And I don't have a fancy pants lens either. This is just the 16-80 f4, and it's at 23 mil, and you can still see you're getting a little bit of a shallow depth of field, a little bit of bokeh using a lens like a 16-80. I thought maybe I would have to switch to something fancier, like a 35-1.4 or something, but I think this looks pretty good, doesn't it? I think so. And eventually I will be using OBS, which is like a streaming app. For those of you who don't know what it is, I'm not trying to be smart because I just learned about OBS because someone else said OBS. I think that was you, Capo. I'm like, OBS, what is that? So it's just like an app that you can use on Twitch or YouTube or any kind of a video streaming app where you can like use like a switcher, or you can use the app itself to be switching different camera angles. So maybe I would have a camera up high here and I can do like unboxings live for you. And then I can control it from where I'm sitting and control what different camera angles you see. And as well, because my studio is actually big enough, because I have Studio A, Studio B, and then Studio C, that I can actually safely have guests, and the guest is in a different room. And I'm not sure if when it comes to this COVID-19 lockdown business, is if for work, if I'm allowed to have somebody else, but I can even set up on a different floor of this building and just use an empty unit and have them in there. They come in on their own and then sit down. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but either that or I can have somebody else set up with a similar system like this and then go live. So again, this is just a test. I'm not going to save this. Thank you I see all your comments here. How much is the card cost? Yeah, the card it was like $25, 25 bucks. It goes under tons of different names. I have a feeling it's all coming out of the same factory in China. It's the same thing. I think in the US it's like 15 bucks, but here in Canada, I paid about $25 for it. And on it just says HDMI video capture. Even though when I bought it, it said like whatever, right? Zhongyu video capture card. And then there's like another brand that was like Camlink video capture card. But then if you look at the photos, they're like the same generic photo of the exact same video capture card. And some was $10 more, some was $10 less. So I picked the one that had the most reviews and the most kind of like a middle price. I think there was like a $15 one and there was a $50 one, but they all looked like they were the exact same card. So I will, because I'm not going to save this video, maybe on Twitter or Instagram or something, I'll take a picture of it and then I'll just, or maybe even in YouTube, the whatever that is, the social media, Twitter in YouTube, I'll just give you a link to the Canadian website, and also maybe a picture of my video capture card, but it seems to work pretty darn good. I'm pretty impressed with it. Maybe a tiny bit behind, but not that noticeable. Yeah, it looks, I know what you mean. Looks like maybe there's like a half millisecond of desyncing. And then I'm also going to try the Fujifilm, the X webcam. That one is a little bit trickier to set up, where this one here, like autofocus, is working. See that? Autofocus is working. With the Fujifilm one, I think once you set the exposure and once you start the video, you can't change anything. Everything is set. With this one here, I can go right in and change the focus settings. I can change the exposure settings because it's reading from the HDMI output, which HDMI is the normal way. It's basically capturing the HDMI video, right? And converting it somehow in that little capture card. And then as it goes to USB, it just pretends it's like a USB webcam or something like that. So I think it's pretty darn cool. Mateo, yeah, I just talked about the webcam. It's funny, when it first came out for Mac, which I have, it first came out for PC, and everyone's like, why PC? Why not a Mac version as well as PC? And when it came out with the Mac, I tried it. I couldn't get it to work for some reason. But then recently, after I set up everything, it started showing up as an option. Whenever I did Zoom and I was using my webcam, it said Fujifilm WebX. I'm like, oh, maybe it's properly loaded now. So next time I will try to use it. But remember, it's using USB out of the camera and not HDMI out. And as well, once you set your exposure and everything, it has a very particular way of working. And I think this, using a video capture card, is way more convenient because not only can I use this with my Fujifilm, but I can use it with the Ricoh GR. I can use it with any camera that has HDMI out. It doesn't have to be just Fujifilm. So I think that's kind of the beauty of using these capture cards. For 25 bucks, you can use any camera that has an HDMI out and plug it into your computer, and it acts like a USB webcam. XS10 arrives on Monday. Hey, Johnny D, how's it going? That's awesome. Congrats on your purchase of the XS10. I returned my copy already, but I am waiting for a production copy because mine was pre-production and it had little quirks, but I was pretty sure it was a hardware / firmware issue. If you watch DP Review, they did, Chris and Jordan, they did their review and they had kind of mentioned as well, there seemed to be a bit of a quirk. I think I ended up getting the exact same camera as them to review. And I found mine had a little bit of quirks as well. So I want a production copy to give you like a full proper review, which I did mention in my video that I shot, but I haven't produced yet. So congrats on the XS10. It's an amazing camera. It's the one camera that's tempted me the most of the compact series. Like I've reviewed the XE1, XE2, XE3. I reviewed the XT10, the XT20, the XT30. I reviewed all those compact Fujifilm cameras, and I've never bought any of them. As much as I liked how they worked and I liked the compactness of it, I ended up preferring for compact camera, I ended up going with the X100 series more than the XT or the XE series. And so I'm happy with the XT4, I'm happy with my XH1, and I'm happy with my X Pro 3. So because I have the X Pro 3, XH1, and an XT4, I just don't have a reason to buy an XS10. It would be my fourth Fujifilm active body, a body that's in use actively. And I say active because I do have an X100F that I don't use that often, and I now am kind of considering of selling it maybe. Cafe Javier, you think maybe you'd want to buy it? You and Terry, I think Terry said he wanted first dibs on it, but I might sell it because I'm not using it very much. So perhaps I might sell it. Johnny D, sorry, just all right. What camera are you using for your webcam right now? So I am using the X-T4 with the 16-80mm F4 at 23 millimeters. And so you're getting this kind of bokeh with the 23 F4, because you got to think about webcams. They're using tiny mobile phone sensors, and they tend to kind of do a fisheye, like an ultra wide, kind of like, let's just do this here. This is at 16 now. This is 16, so kind of ultra wide. And then let's go back out to, okay, this is maybe a little bit too close. Let's see, where am I at here? I'm at 35. No, that's 35. So now I'm back to 23. So this is a 23 F4, and you're still getting decent shallow depth of field. I thought I would have to switch to the 23 Fujikron, like a 23 F2, to get decent separation between me and my background. But no, 23 F4 is pretty darn good for something. I know. What do you guys think? I think it looks pretty good for. I mean, way better than a webcam, right? Because I did my webcam recording earlier today, and I was recently happy with it. But I think that's kind of a conference call happy. Like you're happy that you did a Zoom or Skype call at that quality level. But I think for talking head YouTube video or like a YouTube live, something like this, I think having, and let me know about the audio as well. Like, how do you guys like the audio quality? Because I was going to use a lavalier, but then like I was telling, I was having some syncing issues. So I am using the Rode Video Micro that's over here. And just show you guys again here. It's just on a little mini magic arm here. There you go. It's focusing on it now. And I'm using this as my microphone. And this is a little tiny Genere 96 LED pocket light as my key light. And then in behind me here is just it's just my I have a, it's like you buy from Amazon. They're cheap. They're like I don't know what you call it, strip lighting, LED lighting, and it comes with a little remote control, so I could turn it off. I can turn it back on again. I can change the colors. I can have the different modes where I say change colors and not change it. All right, there you go. That's why. You can change the colors. Let's go red now. And I think it cost me about $15 for $15 or $20 for 10 meters. And I ended up getting 20 meters. So it's wrapped around the bottom of my desk, and then it wraps up and around and over my bookshelf over there. So basically spent $30 to put this lighting in the background. And I can even do that mode where it fades in from one color to the next. Let's just see if that works here. Is it working? There you go. See that? And you'll see it. It just scrolls through all the different colors. I used to do that for my YouTube videos, but then I realized if I cut a section, like let's just say I stuttered or I stopped for a second or I talked about something and I thought, oh, maybe I shouldn't say that, and I cut it out, you could tell where I cut it because the lights were at different phases of the fade. So then I realized for YouTube videos, it's best to just leave that at one color. And then I can also control the brightness, and it's all from my from this remote, but as well there's a mobile phone app as well that you can use to control the light instead of using a little remote control. And again, for I think 10 meters, it costs, it was on like a super sale. I think it's regularly $30. And you know when Amazon has those, whatever they call them, like a special prime, and they only sell a certain amount for that price. So they have 30 units and they're like, sale starts now, and you can see the numbers dropping. I bought 2 of them. And then I sat on it for like, I think 3 or 4 months. I just didn't set it up. And then eventually I set it up, and it's kind of fun. I like having it. And whenever I do Zoom calls or Skype calls, the first thing people say to me is like, well, actually the number one thing is like, wow, your lighting is pretty good. And I tell them, yeah, just use like a little pocket LED light. You don't need a powerful one because it's really close to my face here. And then the number 2 is like, oh, wow, that's a neat little light you have behind you. And it's like, yeah, it's cost me $15. So pocket light, $80, $15 light back there. And then I do have a panel light up here that's bouncing against the wall to give a little bit of an ambient feel in the room. So that's a little bit fancy, but other than that, like it doesn't take, and then this $20, $25 capture card. So about $130 if you have your own camera and your own lens, which HDMI out, you can pretty much do what I'm doing now. And I'm just using the free app that's in the YouTube studio that allows me to shoot this live like this. So it's pretty darn simple. Hey, Pocholo, how's it going, buddy? Webcam is cheaper. No, definitely webcam is cheaper, but it's not cheaper if you don't own one yet, but you do own an existing camera. But vice versa is the same. If you already own a webcam and you don't have a mirrorless or DSLR that allows for HDMI video out, actually it doesn't even have to be video out because my camera is not recording or anything. It's just on. And all this capture card is doing is capturing what my camera is seeing, right? So if you already own this for $25, you could just use your mirrorless camera, DSLR. I know some people even use their kind of higher end point and shoots like a Sony RX100, and you can use Fujifilm X100F as well, because that also has HDMI out. It is a micro out, so you do need a micro to full size HDMI on the other side, because that's what the capture card has, is a full HDMI input. But once you do that, you're pretty much ready to rock. Can X100V use as a webcam and store the video on computer, laptop instead of SD card? Yes, yeah, definitely you can do that. But then you need some kind of an app that records on your end, right? So with Macs, you have QuickTime, and that comes free with your computer. You go into QuickTime, you go into File, and you hit New Movie, and then a screen comes up, and then you can choose what you're using. So in your little settings, pick however you're plugging in. So I would recommend using a video capture card like I'm using, or you can download the Fujifilm, the WebX app. And depending if you have a PC or Mac, you have to download that. I think it's like a plugin, and then your computer, whatever app you're using, you have to switch to that so that it can see the feed. And once you do that, that's it. Then you got to worry about audio, and that's where I'm saying that the WebX does not capture the audio. You got to record that separately. But with this video capture card, you can record both video as well as audio from the same unit without having to be fiddling with another external recorder. So that's why I think this $25 video capture card is a great deal. This is better than Instagram Live. Yeah, I mean, Alberto, are you one of the guys that used to be a regular on my Instagram Live? Because I think back in March during the lockdown, I think I was almost on every day, even if it was like for just 10 minutes. I think I was on almost every day. Or Cafe YVR, you can confirm at least 5 times a week I was on live, and sometimes I would go on, and then there's a 1 hour limit. I would go on again, and I think my record was probably 3 hours in one day. But I stopped. A really good someone I look up to, one of my mentors, she had said to me, for the time that you're spending doing Instagram Live, you could be editing a video, you could be writing an article, or at least for YouTube, you can go YouTube Live where you have a larger audience. You could save the video after, you can keep it and then monetize it. And in your description, you could put you can find other ways to compensate for the time that you're spending, because it does take time and energy to do these things. I don't mind doing this now because I want to spend this time to learn how to do live streaming. And I do have an upcoming collaboration where I'm getting a new computer. And so that's coming up. I can't talk about it because right now it's currently under NDA, but I'm just signed the contract and I have something on its way. And I'm going to really get into doing live streaming. I did set up a Twitch account, but someone had said, Take, Twitch is for Twitch is for gamers, and it's for tech reviewers as well as for like younger kids. And I said, I don't mind the challenge, but they were also correct in that, like, Taki, you already have 45,000 followers on YouTube. So why don't you just leverage that audience you already have? So that's why I thought I would come on and sort of test this. So you guys are really helping me. Thank you so much for allowing me to test this, especially those ones that came on really early. And I was just trying to make sure that the audio is syncing. Is it still like a slight behind, like a little bit of a lag? And if that's the case with me, if you watch other YouTube live streamers or YouTube live content creators, do you find that they also have a bit of a syncing issue? Sorry, I'm going to drop my eyes because, again, the camera's up here and then my comments are down here. So I'm going to just take a look here. All the webcams are sold out. Oh, I see. Let's see here. Yeah. And with lots of guests. Yeah, so I guess when you have guests, you're going to have some syncing issues a little bit. You get more viewers than I get on Twitch. No, it's perfect. It's in sync. The desync got worse. Oh, it's getting worse, eh? Oh, I see that now. It could be maybe an issue with maybe the streaming itself. I'm not recording this. I'm not sure if there's a way of me saving this live without posting it, because that's another good test, right? Is even though you're seeing a little bit of a desyncing, is it a matter of the data flow? Like maybe my internet is not doing so well. No worry about looking down at chat. It's all part of live streaming. Yeah, I guess so. It is nice. I had mentioned the Cafe YVR before. I did see Sarah Dietschy's YouTube Central and how she sets up her studio. It's really nice because she has multiple desks, right, for different things. One is for her live podcasting. Another one is for her sitting in front of her computer screen, and then her studio. And it's a really nice setup. And she has all the high-end equipment and stuff like that. I'm using total ghetto. Like I said, a $25 capture card, a camera system that I already own, so I didn't have to buy it specifically to do this. I'm using a Rode Video Micro, which is one of their cheapest microphones that they have for a non-powered microphone. I'm using an $80 LED light, a Generate, which is a no-name. It's not a no-name, but it's one like an off-brand third-party light that I got from B&H. And that's about it. And then just using YouTube's live app. And then OBS is free anyways, but I just have to learn how to use it and be fluent in the OBS language. And then what I can do then is probably put another camera, and maybe I will use my webcam to put kind of maybe above here, so that if I am showing you stuff from down below, I can just show you what's here. So I can do like live unboxings or live tutorials. And as well as with OBS, I can screen share, right? So if I want to talk about, for instance, Instagram and sort of auditing certain people's Instagram accounts if they want me to do it live, or even just sort of going over my own Instagram account and sort of going through my pictures and explaining, you know, why I did this and how I use that, or when do I post and why I do certain things. Then I can switch over to screen capture, and then this will be like a little thing in a corner. That's how I want to set it up, and then do an overhead camera. So I'll have 3 different camera angles, right? So, well, 2 camera angles and then a screen capture, and I can do all that with OBS. I don't think the YouTube Live app will allow me to do something like that. So anyways, that's, unless you guys have any, their lighting is great. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, the lighting is nothing special, right? It's just this, here we go. Maybe for some of you guys that joined late, it's just this little pocket LED light. It fits in my hand, right? It's really small, and that's just for fill. And then just like a cheap microphone. I say cheap, it's I think about $60 US for this microphone. I could have just easily have used AirPods or earpods. Wouldn't have sounded as nice as this, but it would have worked. And then a $25 capture card, and then a camera that I already own. I wouldn't recommend anyone to go out and buy a camera like this just for streaming. It's you know, unless you can get one for really cheap, which you probably can. If you can buy like a 6-year-old mirrorless camera from Sony, like a Nex 5 or Nex 6, or even something like a Samsung NX series that you can find on Craigslist, you could probably find those for probably like $150. I mean, if you get a really nice 4K webcam from Logitech, that is in Canadian, it's $250 Canadian or $200 US. I mean, you can spend $200 on a really nice 4K, it's 4K 30, I think, or 1080 60. But either way, you can spend $200 on a really nice webcam, or you could probably spend the same amount of $200 on a small point and shoot or a much older mirrorless or DSLR, but it has HDMI out, and then you can use a video capture card. And what you don't get with a webcam is you don't get this compression or shallow depth of field. Like I said, webcams tend to be much wider like this, right? Even wider than this. But I think this thing here is great. You get nice, let me just see what I'm at now. 23, yeah, 23. So which is about a 35 mil equivalent. I think this is a great distance. And then again, using the video capture card, the autofocus works, which is nice, right? So I can show you guys stuff, and this will autofocus like that, and then back onto me. And this is the XT4, so the focus is great. And the audio is also coming from the XT4 without me having to use an external audio recorder and then having some syncing issues. I know within OBS, there is a way of delaying the either the audio or the video by like milliseconds, so you can tweak it before you go live. But with this capture card, it's all coming out of the video and audio feed from an HDMI out right out of my camera. So I think that's probably a better way of setting it up. So Donald, you're saying you use your phone and LumaCube. Yeah, I have a LumaCube too. Those are great on my Switch Pod for video conferencing, which I'm not a big fan, but that is the way it is now. Yeah, for sure. I mean, even, like the new iPhone 12 or any of the new Samsung Galaxy or Notes, those have fantastic cameras. And so as long as you can set that up, the problem is the best camera is the back camera, not the forward camera. And that's where you have to really worry about lighting and making sure your lighting is good and the balance is good. But I think the balance of this is really nice. I'm pretty impressed. So it's been 25 minutes. Thank you. Cafe YVR is my timer when it comes to Instagram Live. I would usually look at the time and think, oh man, I'm wasting too much time. Hey, Cafe YVR, can you tell me when I hit a certain point? And so he's used to keep me on a tight schedule. So that's my test. Thank you so much. I'm not going to save this, but I do really appreciate you guys joining. And look for on my other video that I did post and I kept it. Let me know down below when you guys want me to go live. Okay. I'm trying to pick the right time. I think most of my followers are in North America. And in North America, most of them are in the United States. So I don't know what part of the United States. So if I go on at, like right now, it's 8:30 Pacific Standard Time. So it's 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. So I don't know when is a good time. It's a Friday night, but everyone's kind of stuck at home probably, right? Because a lot of places are in lockdown. So let me know when's a good time. I was thinking maybe Thursday at about 6:30 Pacific Standard Time, so 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Thursdays seem to be a good evening, or it could be a Friday, and I can make it into a weekly show, including having guests on once in a while. So let's just see what happens. Thanks for joining, guys, and we will talk to you soon. Happy shooting. Oh, why didn't this shoot anymore? Oh, because, oh, there you go. All right. Peace.